What you are listening to is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in the squared circle. Both parties have agreed to dismiss their cases and have their disputes settled here in our forum, the Turnbuckle Debate.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Turnbuckle Debate. My name is Sneed.
I'm Chad.
We have a couple of guests here with us today. Filling in, we have J-Bone.
J-Bone Saul is ready. Got you for 50 minutes. 50 minutes of playtime.
And then we have our every 20 guest, man.
Every 20.
That's right. The first ever guest of the Turnbuckle Debate, baby.
First ever.
I am
19.
back. Yes, I am back for my episode 60. There's nowhere I would rather be kicking off the new year than here at the tavern. So thanks for having me, guys.
There's nobody else we'd rather have on here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's been going on at Chick Foley, Sheena? Give us the lowdown.
You know, the Christmas thing. We did all the Christmas thing. My in-laws were here, so we had big family Christmas, which was nice. I finally yesterday took down all the Christmas decorations, so my house is back in factory condition. So I'm super stoked for that. I love Christmas. I love the decorations, but it always feels so good to just clear it all out, and just go back to regular old house mode. So we've been doing that. Seth, he's on some leave right now. So we've just been having some family time, watching some wrestling, and it's been good.
That's awesome. And Sheena is a part of the Pod Foundation, and Boney is the newest member.
That's right.
The Pod Foundation.
The loose
down
cannon.
the aisle. That's right. The loose cannon Boney Khan has joined the Pod Foundation.
Love it.
And if you don't like that, we got 2 words for you.
Yeah. Yep.
We have just about everybody represented on here tonight, man.
Yeah, man. I love it.
Love it. All right. Well, we've all been on here before. We know what's going on. Are you guys ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
Let's do it. All right. So our first topic is Bryan Danielson the wrestler of the year? This guy's had a year, man.
Mm-hmm. He has had a year. I think it's funny when you look back because, now we're so conditioned to see Bryan Danielson on AEW TV, but it's you forget that it was only a few months ago he was wrestling on WWE TV, big matches, and man, he has been tearing it up since he has been in AEW, and I love to see it. I've loved Daniel Bryan then, now, forever. Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him. I don't care which order you say his name in. I'm going to love him all the same. So, in my opinion, wrestler of the year. And there's an argument to be made. We've made this argument. We have a long chat history. There's the Roman and the Kenny Omega argument. I mean, there's so many people that could vie for wrestler of the year. But I think there's some things that are specifically that make Daniel Bryan kind of just stand out in a way that Roman and Kenny don't have. So I'm interested to hear what you guys say.
I think his in-ring run, if we're going wrestler of the year just by in-ring, it's hard to deny him.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy was in the Rumble, the guy main evented WrestleMania, and now he's on a 17-18 match tear in AEW.
Yeah, and had a killer final match in WWE with Roman Reigns on SmackDown. I mean, just tore the house down at SmackDown. So, I mean, went out on WWE on a high note. Kept an amicable relationship with WWE, which I think is pretty cool, and then transitioned into AEW and was well received by the fans. I think that's a huge part of why I kind of give him the edge, and I think we can talk about him as wrestler of the year because Roman has been in WWE the entire time. Kenny has been in AEW the entire time. But to make a transition from one company to another and just make it so seamless and so great, to stay on top where he was main eventing WrestleMania, go right into AEW to where he's tangling with the top dogs. I just feel and everybody's okay with it. It could easily have been misrepresented you have Daniel Bryan in here coming in trying to, this WWE guy coming in trying to take over AEW, but I don't feel like it was received like that at all. I feel like people are excited and they're excited to get that Daniel Bryan that they knew and loved from the independence back, you know?
And to effortlessly shift into a heel role.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that he is just that pompous, I know I'm the shit and I'm going to tell you I'm the shit. Like, I love that. Your point, Sheena, about him bridging two companies, elevating him above Roman and Omega, that is a extremely valuable point. But as much as I think his run is incredible, I think he's got the best in-ring run. I think it's a two-man race. I think he's third for me. I think I can't have recency bias, because if you look at the scope of the entire year, it's a Roman Omega run for me. It's a two-man race. If we're going strictly off of just the long-term story being told, I think Roman has one of the best stories in wrestling right now. But if I'm going in-ring work on top of story, on top of garnering 3 world titles in 3 separate promotions and bringing eyes to AAA and Impact, I got to go Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
I know he's been gone. He's kind of out of our minds since Full Gear, but man,
he's only been gone for like last month, and I'm kind of right there with you. You know, he, if you look at, those between those two, those two guys, of course, arguably, not only the biggest stars but biggest heels in wrestling right now. But if you look at, all right, the two guys, you look at Roman and Kenny throughout this run, even with, Roman still obviously has the title as of now, but as of this recording, we got day one this weekend. But if you look at the two runs, you got to compare which one did you want to see lose the title the most. And for me, that was Kenny. Like, not because I was like, oh, I'm tired of this dude, but because of his like heel character, and that to me solidifies even more so his heel character.
But would you have wanted him to lose it? What if it was like not Hangman? I think we were all just like, oh wait, I can't wait for Hangman to win this title, right? But if it had been somebody else,
Christian.
you might feel, if Christian, exactly. That's a great example. That is a great example. If Christian had been fighting Kenny Omega for the title, would you have been like, I'm ready for him to lose the title and Christian to carry the torch in AEW? You would not feel like that. I hope not.
No. I mean, if you look out throughout the whole year, you were just ready for him to lose the title. Whether Christian was not the guy. He's not that guy, pal.
God, pal.
As much as I love Christian, he just was not in that position. He carried his position, correctly with, taking the impact.
Well,
but I just think, the whole time people were just like, okay, when is he going to lose it? When is he going to lose it? Because he's got increasingly like, okay, he's getting me agitated, and that's because he was doing his character work correctly,
especially on the kayfabe side.
And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking on the kayfabe, not like reality.
Yeah, on the kayfabe side, I'm like, this douche, like he's just. But then on like when he faced Christian at All Out, like, I'll be honest, like there was a part of me that was even like, what would happen if he didn't drop the title to Hangman? Like, he would just be a monster. Like people would hate him.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of with you. Like, I think Roman, there's nobody right now that I'm like, he should lose. Like he's
no, I feel that way too. Even Brock this weekend, I'm like, Roman, like I'm picking Roman, it's just like, it's not even a question in my mind.
Right.
At this point, like, even though I know what Brock is capable of, it would be stupid to bet against Roman in any capacity. Like, it's ridiculous.
I feel like you got to keep that run. He's on this epic run. And I feel like the only way he loses is if they get someone who's up to his level, and it has to be a Mania moment.
Yeah.
You can't drop that title at a first
day
time
one
pay-per-view. Come on.
At a first time pay-per-view. Exactly. I don't see that happening.
I did that more for suspenseful, because as we're recording this on Monday, recording this on Wednesday, it's Monday today as everybody listened to this. So, who knows what happened? Is his WWE booking? Nick Khan it's got the little pencil, you know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Never know.
But let's just remind ourselves that Daniel Bryan took both of those guys, those two top guys, to the limit. Like, I mean, he
true.
took
Yeah.
freaking Roman Reigns to the limit on multiple occasions. He took Kenny to a 35-minute time limit draw. You know what I mean? So, I mean, he's right up there. I think, I mean, it's hard to compare because it's almost like an apples to oranges comparison because he didn't get a full year in either company, you know. So it does make it a little bit unfair because he doesn't have that continuous storyline like Kenny has and that continuous storyline like Roman has. It's been that long-term storytelling, but I think definitely over his second half of the year and going into the first half of 2022, I think we're going to be like, damn, this is going to be a hell of a year for
Bryan didn't
Bryan
hold
Danielson.
gold. That's a big
right.
thing.
That's a big factor. Right.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big factor, but for me, I think 1A, 1B with Kenny and Daniel, but I think Daniel Bryan takes 1A for me not just because he made that seamless transition.
Yeah,
it's
a big deal.
I think that not only that seamless transition to come in from WWE to AEW, but the transition from what he was when he came into the heel.
Yeah,
like that. He showed so much versatility in his ability, not only in the ring, but the way he can do, the way he can pull that off.
And what a gift! What a gift AEW got because they literally basically kind of played off the storyline in WWE. Like, okay, loser leaves town, and he's like, he's really leaving town, you know, and but you just play it off that he's just this workhorse, and he's just gonna, you know, give you every drop of blood, sweat, and tears he has, and that's what he's proven is in AEW. Like I said, I think Chad brought it up earlier. You know, it depends on what you're talking about. How are you encompass? If you're just talking about the in-ring work, absolutely, Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, wrestler of the year. Like if you look at what he can do, but I think
he just doesn't miss. I think that's the biggest thing so far. He like in 2021, he has not missed.
He's been
and I don't think there's been matches that Kenny has had over the past year. Like even though overall you can be like, man, Kenny had an amazing 2021. There's been matches in 2021 that I was like, you know what I mean? But Bryan Danielson, it's like he's just knocking them out of the park one after another. You know, and that's a big deal.
The big thing and Kenny does this too a little bit, but I don't think there's anyone in pro wrestling right now better than Bryan Danielson at elevating his opponent.
Yes.
No matter who he's in the ring with, like Roman has his best matches against Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
That Kenny Omega match against Bryan Danielson was phenomenal. Like I feel like anytime he's in a match, like look at the run he's had. He was putting on matches with John Silver, Alan Angels, and those matches, Colt Cabana. Not to say anything about those guys like abilities. They're all great in their own way, but he brings them up to another level, like that not many people can do.
I agree. He's very talented in that way. I mean, and just look at the people that he's faced, you know, I mean, like Nick Jackson, freaking Dusty Rhodes, like all people of all different sizes, statures, wrestling styles. And he just weaves himself in there seamlessly, you know, and I think that's just like a talent that not a lot of people possess, you know, Bret Hart being one of them.
You know, the thing that pushed me into really liking what Daniel Bryan was doing was the speech that he gave when he came in about why he left. And how he loved WWE, but the reason why he was into AEW.
Yeah,
I want to goddamn wrestle.
That's right.
Like, yes.
What a speech, man.
Chills. I got chills when he gave that speech. And I loved how, you know, all these guys were leaving WWE and
I think that really adds to my you know, just like me being like a fangirl for him is because I just think he's like the best. Even like, I think it was Sneed last week was talking about how he never wears his own merch. You know, and dude, it's because, you know why? It's because he's like eco-conscious and eco-friendly. He's like, I'm not going to push people. And he said this, he's not going to push people to buy merch. Like, he's like, I'm not just going to wear things. So it's like, well, a little kid will be like, oh, I need that t-shirt. If they want to buy my t-shirt, great, but I'm not going to be a walking billboard and be like a, you know, a piece of consumerism, you know what I mean? So he just wears his little white t-shirt or comes out in his trunks or whatever, you know? And even when WWE made his shirt, they made sure that it was like, you know, green and like recyclable materials and stuff like that, something that aligned with him. And I think that's really cool that he's just like sticking to his guns. Like, these are my values. This is what I'm about, you know, and this is who I am. And I just love Bryan Danielson so much.
I bet you're a house divided between you and Seth.
Oh yeah, Seth. We bicker all the time because he's always poking at Bryan Danielson, like making fun of him about something, And I'm just like, you're such an asshole, I'm just like, you don't even have a good argument why you don't like him. He's like, he's just weaseling his way into another match he's not supposed to be in, And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. These are great matches, like, and they would not have been as great without him, But he will never admit it. So.
All right. Well, I think it's time. We should probably move on. We have a couple more topics to get to, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next topic. And the next topic of the evening, Sheena, this is the one that you brought to the table. Mm-hmm. Who will be the breakout star of 2022?
Yeah, I'm curious where you guys fall on this. It can be anyone in AEW or WWE. And there's a list that I have that I just feel like so many people that I just want to see just like get that opportunity, One person that is pretty obvious, isn't somebody that I've like been behind for a long time, but somebody that I can definitely see getting that push in 2022 is Braun Breaker. I don't know how, I know you guys aren't watching the NXT, the 2.0.
Yeah.
But the kid is awesome. And he just, he's got that Steiner blood, obviously he's not using the Steiner name, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, dude, he won War Games for his team, had a killer match against Tommaso Ciampa. I think they're going to pull him out of 2.0 because that show is just, it's a rough go, So I think they'll get him out of there sooner rather than later. And I'm curious to see, because he's got the Vince look. You know what I mean?
That's what I was going to say. He looks like a pro wrestler.
Yeah. Oh, the vascularity.
Exactly.
He looks like he came out of that class with John Cena and
100%.
All of those dudes. He's got that build.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much he sounds like freaking Scott Steiner on the mic.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And like that's not even his dad,
Yeah.
He looks like Rick Steiner and he sounds like Scott Steiner.
Yeah. It's bizarre. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. Again, NXT for me lately has just been a rough watch. But out of all of those no name, WWE, manufactured dudes that they're trying to bring in, I feel like Braun Breaker has been the only one for me that stood out, because the rest of them are just like, I'm like, I don't know you, I don't like you, I don't want you in my circle. I'm sorry, get out of here.
NXT, aka Double Dare. I'll take the physical challenge.
Yes.
Aggro Crag.
Aggro Crag.
Yeah. That's gonna be the next the ladder match. Next version of the ladder match. You're gonna climb the aggro crag.
Get a piece of the crag.
What about you guys?
I'm goal of mine as a kid.
Yeah. Oh, me too, dude. I always always wanted to go to Nickelodeon Studios and be like Global Guts and freaking Double Dare and all those things. Like that was like my dream.
I have two. I picked one for AEW and one for WWE. For WWE, when they first did this angle, I was kind of like here for it. I was digging it. In the last week or two, it's kind of started to get kind of sad and cringy to me, but I still think there's probably big things in store. I went more of like not what I want personally, but more of like what I think they're pushing towards. I think 2022 is going to be a big year for Austin Theory.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. He just does not really do it for me, though. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is about Austin Theory. I feel like the best thing that he did was being part of the disciplehood from with Seth Rollins, and nothing's really piqued my interest from that. But with him being so close to Vince and all of that, like there's no way that Vince would let him be in that storyline with him without there being something going on there.
Like when was the last time Vince was on our TV as much as he's been?
Exactly.
And he does have that Vince body. I mean, he's not a big guy, but he looks like he's young enough where I could see him packing on more muscle, getting bigger. I think Boney, I think you said it on Raw Down, and I think it's a genius booking. Like if
I was about to say,
the Bony Nostradamus comes true, if Austin Theory and Vince McMahon line up to face off against Steve Austin and another young guy at Mania and do another Austin versus McMahon,
oh my gosh,
it could be huge.
Wow.
I mean,
I don't know though. Can we just think for a moment? Is Steve Austin gonna come back for Austin Theory? I mean, Steve Austin has me either. I hope. I mean, in my mind, like if the Nostradamus, like fantasy booking, like that would be kind of cool. But I'm also thinking like I respect Stone Cold so much for kind of like keeping his distance and only coming back when it's like on kind of on his terms, even if it is like a corny Legends night every once in a while, they still allow him to be Steve Austin. But if they put him in a storyline with this Austin Theory and Vince thing,
I think it'd be more like McMahon Vince final chapter kind of thing, But
yeah,
that's kind of what I'm thinking that it would be. You might come out and have him, on Raw, maybe give Vince a stunner, or maybe even on Mania or whatever,
and hold off on it. Hold off on it. Have Vince and Austin Theory feuding with maybe a Braun Breaker who comes in at Rumble, and have them feuding and kind of screwing over Braun Breaker in certain ways, and then in maybe 2 weeks before Mania, be like, hey, you can have someone in your corner. Who are you going to get? Glass breaks. Boom. Set it up.
When you hear that glass, hit your ass.
Oh, I pop for the glass every time. Every single time.
It's my ringtone.
Yeah, it does not matter like what's going on. When that glass breaks, I get like goose skin or goosebumps like everywhere. It's like, the best.
So my AEW breakout star, just real quick, Austin Theory for WWE. For AEW, I don't know. I don't think he's going to set the world on fire of like getting a title or anything, but I think 2022 we're going to see a lot of Hook.
Yeah,
I think he set the social media world on fire. That match he had against Bear Bronson was even good. Like I think we're going to see him probably be 2022's Rookie of the Year.
Oh yeah.
The kid is great. To be that young, like his matches shouldn't look. That was his first match against who was the first?
Fuego del Sol.
Yeah, Fuego del Sol.
Fuego del Sol. Sorry,
yeah,
Fuego del Sol.
Dude, some of the moves, like I was seeing glimpses of his dad.
Judo, man, a judo fucking star.
Oh yeah,
it reminded me. It reminded me of like Ronda Rousey. When Ronda Rousey like debuted, you're like, whoa, like what is this?
And he's a guy. Not to cut you off, he has that like young. I feel like he's really going to connect to those young kids. Like he's a good looking guy. Mm-hmm. He's kind of got that new gen vibe to him, like where I feel like that young.
He's got a TikTok vibe about
exactly.
So like for Matt Cardona, who's doesn't watch pro wrestling, for him to be like, I love Hook, he doesn't watch the
messed up hair and
he's definitely like that was actually one of my AEW picks as well too, is Hook. So I
what do you guys think about Dante Martin? What do you think do you guys think it's like a flash in the pan? Was that one of yours, Sneed?
So I had two. Hook was one of them, and I came with a backup because I figured Hook would be a topic, but Dante was my pick.
Yeah.
I think he gets the TNT title. I think he wins the TNT title.
The only reason I didn't pick him, I feel like this year was his breakout year. I feel like this year
I think the reason I picked him for next year, I think he's going to get a title though.
I could see that.
I think this is his title year.
But I think he was still kind of finding his footing because he's been bounced around a little bit. You know what I mean? So I feel like we're really going to see in 2022, like who he is as a character, like kind of come into his own, like really step away from, I mean, he was in a tag team, right? And then he got,
I think that's what's going to derail his breakout singles push. I think his brother comes back in 2022 in Top Flight. Go. I could see them elevating in the tag division and having some senior tag matches, but I think Darius is going to come back.
I think Darius comes back, but I think we're at a point now where I don't know if there's any coming back to Top Flight.
That's true. That's true.
I think Dante's on
I think he's a little beyond that, dude.
Yeah. And I think that because we hadn't really seen him in a lot of storylines, but I think this past when they did the Dynamite and like he did the turn on Team Taz, like that's the first time we ever saw him really do anything storyline wise.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think this is going to set that in motion, and I think this is going to be a year for Dante.
Yeah, I can see that. One last thing real quick. What are we thinking about Jade Cargill? Do we think she's going to polish herself up and really elevate the women's division? And or like, do you think
I don't
she
think
still looks really green to me, but I've heard
Yeah.
some people like saying like, oh, Jade's the next big thing. And I'm just like,
I think
is she,
she's the next big thing in maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I could see that more so in 2 or 3 years.
Like looking at her, like just eye test, she's a star.
Oh,
man.
$1 million bucks. Looks like $1 million
No
bucks.
one looks like her. In I don't care what company it's in. No female talent or male talent for that matter is built like her. Like she looks like she's sculpted out of just marble.
Chiseled.
Like crazy.
Yeah.
So I think once her in-ring catches up, because you got to think, is she at a year of training yet? Like, I mean, she is.
I don't know if it's been a year. Yeah, I don't know if it's been a full year for her, especially like, you know, in the spotlight, like on Dynamite and stuff. You know, like I definitely, because I mean, she's come a long way even in the short period of time. Because I remember when she was first cutting promos, I was like, what is this? What is happening here? You know,
I think that's a thing when you look at her, though. I think that's a testament to how much she looks like a star. Is the fact that her look is so just money that they felt like, hey, this is someone we can't just throw on dark.
Yeah,
I know she's green, but we have to put her on Dynamite. Like she has to be featured because she looks like $1 million.
And I think pairing her with Mark Sterling,
was helpful.
Was a great idea.
Very helpful.
You know, he's Mark Sterling. He's kind of almost like a modern day Bobby Heenan. He can work and he can talk. You know, you know,
that's funny.
But in some way, but I have 2 names that I want to float that are not in WWE and AEW that I think could be in AEW. Both former NXT stars. They're currently, you know, wrestling a lot for GCW. Alex Zane and Blake Christian.
Oh, dude, they have been tearing it up.
So, you know, I think those 2 guys as well. They can. I think. You know, that's going to be in the latter part of the year. But you know, maybe this summer you'll maybe see them, you know, start appearing maybe in AEW a little bit. Maybe it's signed. Those guys now they just had a match against each other.
It was great.
Yeah, it was great. But now they're going to be teaming up this weekend against the Briscoes for the GCW Tag Team Championship.
The Briscoes are some guys that I want to see come down.
Yes.
I want the Briscoes.
I want that so bad.
Yeah.
I could easily see, you know, as much as I love the Briscoes, and you know they're great for the GCW. I could see them taking the titles off of the Briscoes, and then they're like kind of like the standard bearer of the tag team division for a little while. Alex Zane specifically, if you like follow him on Instagram and you look at his stuff, he promotes himself very well, and I think he can really elevate himself if he gets to AEW. I don't think they got a fair chance in NXT. They got cut way too soon. I think those are two names I think everybody should watch out for.
Yeah, and I think the Blake Christian thing is very interesting because the thing about both of those guys right now, if you watch them in GCW, is they have a chip on their shoulder.
Yes.
They're full of piss and vinegar because they felt like they didn't get that shot in NXT because that promo that Blake Christian cut at Blood on the Hills against Jonathan Gresham, calling out Jonathan Gresham, dude, that was a money promo. That was like, where was this? They didn't give this guy any shot. So yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he was buried in 205 Live. I mean, you know, shame. I mean, it's just they saw nothing. They scoop up all these indie wrestlers and just threw them on the wayside, you know, and it aggravates me now to see how they're getting talent, but that's a whole nother story, another day. But Blake Christian, Alex Zane, those are 2 names I think you should watch out for. But just like you said, Hook, you know, I think he's definitely one.
Well, we just found out Tony Storm got released, so I would not be mad at all to see Tony Storm come over into the AEW Women's Division because Britt needs some help right now, dude. Britt is she's struggling, dude, with what's there, and man, I would not be. I don't know what the reason she asked for her release apparently. So I don't know if she's going back to the UK or what the deal is.
I heard rumors of COVID. The COVID.
I'm thinking possibly the COVID testing. Because apparently Omos wasn't on Raw because of the same reason.
He left
because of the COVID testing. Kind of like some of them kind of, want the COVID testing. Yeah, but doing the pushback. So
I'll be honest, man. The way they've handled Tony Storm,
it's dog shit.
Yeah,
because Tony Storm on NXT UK was
amazing,
phenomenal,
so
dude. Good. Her and Rhea Ripley were. When they were in NXT UK, they were putting on classics, and then it just kind of fell apart.
I loved NXT UK.
I did
Ripley,
too,
man, dude. And I like Rhea Ripley now. She's lost a little bit of the magic for me, but man, when she was in NXT UK, I was just like, dude, this chick right here, this is my chick.
Her edge. She's just kind of a character.
She's lost. Yeah, she's floating, and like she just kind of like. Doesn't know who she is, heel face tweener, like she has no definitive character, so I think she's really struggling.
Do you guys see any breakout stars for WWE's women's division? Because I think they're in a holding pattern right now that I feel like is kind of dangerous, where they keep leaning on the 4 horsewomen and that crew and Asuka and the 4 horsewomen, and they just keep rotating it. It's like, when are you going to elevate some of your mid-card girls?
This has been the worst year for women's wrestling in WWE.
And I've been long standing saying WWE has the best women's division, like period, but it's like you said, I'm like I could have watched this match in 2018. You know what I mean? Like it could be the same thing, and it just feels like it's repeating over and over.
Nothing to do with the talent. It's the way they're booked. The Becky Lynch stuff was horrible. They butchered Bianca Belair. They've I'm trying to think. Liv Morgan. I mean, like she was on a roll. They stopped the momentum. It's just like they stopped people's momentum.
Yeah. I don't know, and I can't really put my finger on it. What's going on, other than just like you said, like it's just getting stale because there's no.
They won't let anyone make that next step.
Look who the champions are: Charlotte and Becky Lynch. Like, hello, 2018.
Right,
your champions. Your champions are want you back. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's sad because I love all those women, and they are so capable of just putting on 5-star classics. But at some point, I mean, you got to bring in a fresh new crop.
If I could only raid WWE's women's division to bring one person to AEW, the one woman I would bring to AEW is Bayley. I love Bayley.
Oh, Bayley's awesome.
Bayley. Her matches, she is like the forgotten person.
Yeah.
Like everyone always talks about Becky and Charlotte and Sasha because they have maybe a little more star power,
more pizzazz,
but I feel like they have built their careers off of matches with Bayley.
Oh yeah, definitely.
She is that Daniel Bryan workhorse in the ring. Like, I love Bayley.
Oh yeah, she carried the pandemic era, dude. Like she carried that on her back. Like, she was so entertaining. Everything she did was just amazing. I loved heel Bayley. She was just one of those, like, she got under my skin in a way. I was just like, this is working so well, because I'm just like, shut up, Bayley.
Big Bayley mark.
Oh yeah,
and I think she would work really well in AEW. I feel like if they just like took the reins off of her and let her just like fly, I feel like she would be a really good fit. And I mean, in her in-ring work speaks for itself. So
one of her best buddies, I think one of her best friends, is Ricky Starks. So hopefully lures her over.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Well,
all right, guys. Well, we'll move on to the final topic of the evening.
It's time.
It's
for the main event.
All right. So our final topic of the evening: Cody Rhodes' current run. Is it cringe, or are you here for it?
wrestling has more than one royal family.
That's become my troll line. I've been doing it in a Chick Foley group line when somebody starts talking about it. It's become my troll line.
Oh man.
I'm gonna let you guys, as the resident AEW crew, I'm gonna let you guys kick this one off. And
who wants to kick it off? One of you guys?
I'll go. So what was it? Probably about whatever the flaming table spot happened. Whatever that was, about a month ago.
With Andrade, yeah.
Yeah, I was getting frustrated a little bit. Like, God, and I even said it on the wrap up show. I was like, okay, something's got to give here. And I'm going to give credit where credit's due. I hate to do it, but Tom was right. He's absolutely right. I know he's smiling.
He never hears this.
He's smiling ear to ear right now. And he's like, that's right. I'm the staple. But he was right. Cody already made his heel turn. And once he said that, I'm like, oh, okay. So it gave me a whole nother perspective. I don't even know if I need the big, oh my God, he's a heel. Especially after we saw the Holiday Bash thing. I mean, he was definitely healing it up without a doubt.
Did you see like the post show where like Tony came out and was like talking about, he's like, I'm your new TNT champion,
Yes.
and the crowd just booed him out of the stadium, and he was just like, let's try this one more time, and then he did it again. They just booed him out of the stadium. Yeah, he is just, for me, everything Cody does, and I'll preface this for anybody who is listening to this that does not listen to the Chick Foley Show. We respect Cody Rhodes in a shoot way for all he's done for the business, for, you know, the idea for AEW being the brainchild and bringing it to life. Okay, like this is not true Cody hate. This is Cody character hate. Okay, so there's a difference. So don't come at me if you're a Turnbuckle regular and you don't tune into the Chick Foley Show and you don't know. Don't be atting me saying like, oh, you don't like AEW like Cody is in it. I ain't trying to hear it. Okay, but I will say everything Cody does is just like so cringe to me. My husband, the heel husband, Seth, puts it perfectly. He says he is an 8 that presents himself as a 10, which makes him come off as a 7. Okay. So it's just like, dude, he brought this whole idea to the company that the politics weren't going to matter. Like they were going to book people for who they were. And he like, when he first came out, he's like, okay, well, I lost my championship title match against Jericho. I'm never going to wrestle for the main title again. Cause I'm just like that. You know what I mean? Like blah, blah, blah. Well, then now he's trying to make the TNT title just like more important than the AEW title. You know what I mean? Just like squashing all these mid-card guys that are trying to make their way up. And I'm just like, you're a little bit out of touch, dude. Like, you know, you may not be fighting for the main goal, but like, you squashed Anthony Ogogo. That whole thing was just a freaking mess, you know.
He was garbage.
You beat. But can we just talk about how that whole feud? He was trying to bring back some like old school, you know, America versus, you know, the foreign entity, and I was just
it was the American dream.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, it did not work. You know, beat Malachi Black. He put Darby over, but I also have to ask myself, what does being put over by Cody Rhodes do for anybody? It's not like he's the best technical wrestler in the world. It's not like he's the most notorious wrestler in the company. Like getting put over by somebody like the Bucks or Kenny or somebody that's a little bit, or Jericho, you'd be like, oh, wow, this is like really giving this guy the rub. But getting put over by Cody is like, you know, getting a C on your report card, you know?
Well, I'm here. If you look at his last name. Oh, I'm sorry. If you have your, just to get to that point, if you look at his last name, wrestling has more than one royal family. That's what gets you over. That's what gets him over. He's a Rhodes, man. Like he's you know,
Rhodes are gonna Rhodes, man.
Rhodes are gonna Rhodes. That's so true.
I'm sorry.
That should have been the name of their TV show. Rhodes are gonna Rhodes.
I'm sorry, Steve. I stepped all over you.
No, you're fine, man. That's no big deal. I mean, I'm just gonna say I'm here for it. This current run, I'm here for it, man. I love the type of heel, because he is a heel, but I love the type of heel that he is. He doesn't act like he knows he's a heel.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. I think that this run that he's doing right now is just I love that he is just this over the top superhero in his mind that everybody
He's
loves him.
in his mind is
Everybody
right.
hates
In
him.
his mind is exactly right.
That's the thing. Like that's I like that they're playing that as a character. I don't think
Do you think
really
they're
believe it.
playing? Do you, I see? To me, I think Cody really thinks he's like I'm worthy of coming out of the middle of the
And
stage
that's where they
when
that's
everybody
what
else
they
feels
do.
like they
That's
have
what-
to come out the side.
They're working you.
I
You've
am
been worked.
You've been
I am
working,
prone to
Sheena.
be. I am prone to getting worked. Listen, me and Marco, we love to say we love to get worked. You know what I mean? It's one of the best things about watching pro wrestling is getting worked. But in my mind. But I also watch his reality TV show, which aren't really reality. So yes, I know that. But I'm like, you're the same, like overconfident, like I don't know.
What's different about Cody Rhodes' run and Matt Cardona's run? They're the same thing. Same exact yes, because Matt Cardona's like, I'm a great guy. Like, look at me. I'm doing all this. I do all this great stuff.
But Matt does not have creative control at the companies that he's working for. He does not have the power to put himself over
I don't
other.
think Cody has creative control.
You don't think
I think he has influence. I think he can take his character where he wants, but I think if Tony Khan thought it was dog shit, he wouldn't let it happen.
But him and Tony Khan are like, you know what I mean? Like if Sneed was like, hey, like, if he was your buddy, wouldn't you put Sneed over all the time? He'd be like, of course I want Sneed to win. Sneed's my man,
You don't think Matt Cardona and Brett Lauderdale are buds?
I mean, I don't know. I guess so.
They hate each other. They've said it.
He's one of the
They've said it.
It's true. Cody said he would never turn heel in an interview. He's never going to turn heel.
No, he'll never fight for the AEW championship. That's never going to happen.
Right.
What do you mean?
I think a lot of the things Cody does is cringy.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not not a Cody guy. I'm not like, I don't see his match on a card and I'm like, man, like I'm like Sheena and Seth and everybody else. I love and respect what he's done for the business, but from a kayfabe, he's not one of my favorite wrestlers. Right. I don't despise him, but I will say, I think he's working people so fucking hard right now. I think
it's the pomp and circumstance. It's the he just bitched and moaned about Triple H doing this exact same thing for years and years and years, and he's doing the exact same thing.
He's leaning into that, and I think this recent TNT title win is him taking the temperature of the room and being like, you know what really piss him off?
Yeah.
Let's give me that third run.
Oh my God.
He pulls out the golden shovel. He says all these things, like the crowd is obviously behind him. And the one thing I can say about AEW is they have been pretty good about listening to their fan base. Like when something they don't like, they switch, they pivot. So you mean to tell me arenas are booing this dude out of the building and he is legit shoot saying, I'm never going to be a heel. Come on, man. He's working everybody. Like he even said in an interview, and I think this is from today or yesterday, and I found it very, very interesting. He said, I'm thankful to the fans that cheer me, and I'm thankful to the fans that boo me, because both sets of fans are getting ready to go on a ride that's just bizarre, and it's not the path that you think. We're not doing what's been done before. And I think everyone has this idea of what it means to be a heel. We're waiting for him to stab Arn in the back. We're waiting for him to do this dastardly thing, and everyone can in their brain, that Stanford brain be like, oh, he did a bad thing. He's a bad guy now. I think they're trying to reinvent the way he's going. I think this process, I think we're seeing a super heel slowly form. I think he is going to be the biggest heel in AEW within maybe the end of 2022. I wouldn't be surprised if he's holding the big gold and people despise him. And I think it could be even to a level where the very nature of AEW is at stake in the heart of his story.
But you don't think that there's a smidge of go home heat there?
No,
you don't think you think it's just like strictly like, we're booing Cody because he's annoying.
I think the AEW faithful, like I think they love this guy. And you said, Sheena, when you talked and you said, what's it mean for like a Darby Allin to go over on a Cody? Now, in the grand scheme of hardcore fans who watch all wrestling and kind of like side eye Cody, I kind of agree with you. But when you're talking about that million fan base for AEW, I think Cody, yeah, they're booing him, but I think they love this dude. He was the poster child. He was
day one. You're right. That's a good point. Yeah, because if you just jumped into watching AEW, like if this is your first ever wrestling promotion that you watch, you think Cody Rhodes is Triple H. You know what I mean? Like you think he is like
the top guy,
the top guy, the big deal. So I can totally see that aspect of it too.
I think having a schmidge of, like you said, of go home heat is okay for a heel. Like I think that's what you want. Like you want, like, okay, like bro, go over there. Like it's whenever the go home heat overcast, you're whatever else, you're just a regular, regular stuff, where almost like X-Pac, right? Where, in the early 2000s, like, okay, all right, go home,
don't come back.
Yeah, don't come back. I want to read something too. I quoted this on Instagram. This is from him. He said, "Don't be a heel," in capitals. "Don't be a heel. Don't be a babyface. Be a winner. Be you."
Yeah. To what you're saying, Boney, how a little bit of go home heat is good. I'm not trying to elevate all of us as these super smart fans, but I would say if you have a wrestling podcast and we watch wrestling, like all four of us watch wrestling, we're a little more educated than maybe the casual fan. And I think when you have a heel working like this or a wrestler working like this, I think those casuals who aren't so tapped into how it all goes down, I think that I don't want to watch this guy go home heat is exactly what they don't understand. That's what a heel is supposed to do. Right. So they're like, I don't want to watch this guy. It's like Dan Lambert. Dan Lambert, I don't want to watch this guy. Dude, that's exactly what he wants you to say. That's the point of a heel. Like, I think sometimes people confuse that go home heat. Like, sometimes I don't even agree with go home heat because I feel like sometimes people say go home heat when I'm just like, dude, back in the day, that was just a good heel. Yeah. If you're saying like, I love to cheer this heel.
Yeah. Like Paul Heyman,
Well, but there is go home heat. There's like Nia Jax go home heat. You know what I mean? When like, there's like, when where you're just like, no, like go home. Like you're literally murdering everybody on the screen. Could you just 100%. Like go home, please?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm here for Cody. I'm here for this run.
Here for it. Even look at Dusty over your shoulder right there. He's here for it.
Oh, let me tell you something, baby. But baby boy, he's doing the damn thing.
And I love Dusty Rhodes. That's the thing. I love Dusty Rhodes. So I'm so sad that Cody makes me cringe so hard.
Rhodes are gonna roll, baby. Rhodes are gonna roll.
Rhodes are gonna roll, baby. We're funky like a monkey.
All right, guys. Well,
I think that's it.
I think that'll do it. Guys, get your plugs in. Tell everybody where they can find you guys.
I'll go. You can find me on Instagram at Chick Foley. We're on Twitter at Chick Foley Show. And you can join our Foley fam at chickfoleyshow.com. You can listen to our podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can follow at Pod Foundation as well and stay in touch with everything that we have going on.
Absolutely. Yep. Check out the Pod Foundation. You can also find me if you want to interact with me in the Chick Foley Show Facebook group.
Yeah.
But also at Coming Down the Aisle and on Instagram and Twitter _aisle. Podcast drops Wednesday nights, Thursday mornings. So check us out.
Awesome. Well,
a lot of fun.
We'll see you on episode 80.
80. I will be here. Go ahead and mark it down on the mark it on the calendar. Yeah, hopefully there'll be a Cody category for us to discuss.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
All right, well, that's gonna wrap. Oh wait, that's the wrong. That's the wrong. Hold on.
Botcha mania.
All right, guys. Well, normally this is the spot where we give Tom a little bit to give his plugs. We don't have that today, so we're just going to not even talk about Tom.
Yeah, that staple moniker. He's missed a couple debates. Are you really the staple of the debate?
I'm the new staple now.
No, he's the staple remover. You're the staple remover.
Yeah, Tom's more like a paperclip at this point.